Protect your online privacy today at expressvpn.com/inside.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily. For Tuesday, let's talk about two subjects that always go great together: video games and current events. I thought I was going to say peanut butter and jelly.
It's also very good.
I've actually never had one.
What?
So they've been mixing more than ever lately in the aftermath of George Floyd's murder at the hands of Minneapolis police. His death ignited worldwide protests calling for racial justice and policing reforms.
And while video game companies are normally reluctant to even acknowledge politically charged events like this, I see you, Ubisoft, saying everything is not political every time you release a new game.
Every single time.
We saw virtually all of the big names, from Sony to Microsoft to Nintendo, along with dozens of studios, voice support for Black Lives Matter.
There has been one name conspicuously absent from that list, though, and it's a big one. That's Valve, a company that operates Steam, and recently got back into making video games. Half-Life Alyx.
Half-Life Alyx is really good.
Stimulate your senses.
I just put a box on my head, huffed some paint, and ran into a wall. So
Yeah, same
that
effect,
kinda-
except that you can move water in bottles now.
I could too.
Yeah, unlike most gaming companies, they've kept completely silent about the topic, and now some developers are pulling their games off of Steam specifically because of that. Silence is violence.
It started with the indie developer Julian Glander, who has made games like Art School. A few days ago, he tweeted that he was pulling all his games off Steam and said he doesn't see himself ever publishing with them ever again.
Damn. In a message to Valve, Glander wrote, "Over the past few weeks, Steam and Valve have chosen not to address the Black Lives Matter movement, failing to make even a broad and generic statement about racial justice." He added, "It's clearer than ever that the owners of this platform feel beholden to a base of angry white male gamers. This makes me especially sad because I feel that some of these people are the people who most need to hear the message of Black Lives Matter."
He requested that Steam remove both of his games, Art School and Lovely Weather We're Having, from the marketplace, saying, "Obviously as a company you guys can do whatever you want, but I find having my games associated with the Steam platform to be embarrassing and a little nauseating." He also tweeted, "I urge other indie devs to join me."
And they did. After Glander's post, others announced that they were doing the same thing. Ghost Time Games founder Gabriel Koenig added their support, saying they were also pulling their games. Koenig wrote, "Steam is nothing without our games. We have the power to demand change. Dev friends, consider using your voice. Steam will not be getting any more money from me."
They do get like 30% from every single
Yeah.
sale. That's why Valve doesn't need to
Right.
make games. They make so much money just sitting there letting people publish their video games.
Dan Sanderson, who developed the indie game First Winter, also pulled his game writing to Steam. Over the last few weeks, we've seen hundreds of messages from different companies around the world in support of the BLM movement. I'm well aware that many of these companies and corporations are merely trying to save face from a commercial point of view. Nonetheless, from Valve, we've heard nothing. Sanderson, backed up by a bunch of his fellow developers, said that they'd rather their games be available on platforms that are undertaking much more explicit anti-racism work.
A lot of them have actually been moving to itch.io, which bills itself as an open indie game marketplace. They recently offered, if you missed out on this, that's a huge bummer because this bundle was so good, a huge bundle of games, about 1,700 to raise money for the NAACP Legal Defense, an educational fund, and community bail fund. They wrote on Bundle's page, "We live in a time of racial injustice, inequality, and police brutality against Black people. We hope that everyone takes a stand in any way they can."
Connor, do you want to tell him why you didn't buy that bundle?
Let me just say that I think it's a wonderful cause, and I also donated independently. But as for the itch.io bundle, I thought it was too many games.
It was too many games for
You didn't want to
Paralysis of
own
choice.
that many games.
It was too many. You know, I don't need
That's
to get
a
all
lot of
that in
hard
one
drive space.
swell swoop.
We don't have to install them.
Too many. I don't
It's a
even
lot
know
of
what I have.
response. That is quite a backlog to commit to
That's
in one
right.
transaction.
That's right.
Fully know that I will never play most of those games, but it was like $5-10.
Value. Think about the value, Connor.
I thought about the value, and I'd rather just donate my money.
This bundle that Connor's so egregiously passed up included games like
I don't
Celeste.
appreciate this dogpiling.
You know, sometimes you deserve it. So
Thank you. Yeah,
Well,
it
okay.
included games like Celeste and Night in the Woods. I know you're a fan of Celeste. You know
I
what
played
mean?
both of those already.
Both of those games are a huge success, and the whole bundle overall was a success, raising more than $8 million. So you can kind of see why some indie devs might be interested in switching over to that platform.
But still, itch is a much smaller platform than Steam, and pulling your games off one of the biggest games marketplaces in the world is a big financial hit for anyone, especially a smaller developer.
Koenig went on to say that they didn't make the move lightly, writing, "I've been making about $1,000 a month in sales lately, and leaving that behind made me feel uncomfortable. But if I continue to profit from their store, I'd be complicit with their silence on hate."
these people are saying words that seem very genuine, but then there is this small part of my brain that thinks,
I'm sure not many people have heard of these studios.
Is this gonna be good for them in terms of PR and that? I don't want to accuse anyone of not being genuine about those causes, but it is the thing that appeared in my brain. But this isn't the first time that Steam has been criticized about these kinds of issues. We will get into that in a minute, but first, we have an ad.
Today's episode of Inside Gaming is sponsored by Keeps. Did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? Best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair left, dude. Yeah, you can get treated from home with Keeps. You used to have to go to the doctor's office for your hair loss prescription, but now, thanks to Keeps, you can visit a doctor online and get a hair loss medication delivered right to your home. Make it easy and deliver your medication every 3 months so you can say goodbye to pharmacy checkout lines and awkward doctor visits. Keeps also offers generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products out there. You may have tried them before, but probably never for this price. Nuh-uh. Prevention is key here. Keeps treatments can take up to 4 to 6 months or more to see results, so it's important to act fast. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll save. So find out why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors, and nearly 100,000 men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention medication. Keeps treatments start at just $10 a month. Plus, for a limited time, you can get your first month free. So if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/inside to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's That's KEEPS.com/inside. Again, that's KEEPS.com/inside to receive your first month of hair treatment for free. Anyways, back to the show.
Earlier this year, the Anti-Defamation League put out a report criticizing Steam and saying it harbors extremists. The ADL wrote it was disturbingly easy for ADL's researchers to locate Steam users who espouse extremist beliefs, using language associated with white supremacy ideology and subcultures including key terms, common numeric hate symbols, and acronyms.
You said that like the news reporters in Pokemon.
yeah, a little bit. I guess that's
numeric hate symbols and acronyms.
They said the researchers found hundreds of Steam profiles advertising Nazi or white supremacist imagery in their usernames, profile pictures, posts, or bio descriptions, and back in 2017, Vice wrote a piece called Steam is Full of Hate Groups, detailing how they found thousands of Steam groups with the word Nazi in them just for starters.
I looked it up before we started, and like to verify that stuff is still there. And it certainly is. This hasn't all suddenly gone away. Valve doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, some of the groups were pretty jaw-dropping, even, for the internet. One group called Power to Whites had 85 members. In its About section, it says, "We are a group dedicated to killing Jews, gays, and blacks."
Jesus.
That's a fun thing to read.
Yeah, in this case, the platform's kind of just violence is violence, isn't it?
Yeah, just violence is violence. Valve, of course, has typically been hands-off when it comes to moderating and curating Steam, and they might have decided that they're going to go with that ethos when it comes to voicing support for Black Lives Matter. But clearly, this has struck a chord with some developers, and by choosing to keep quiet about the issue, Valve has basically taken a side.
I'm sure to the delight of their fans, too.
Look, I'm glad that Steam is keeping their platform open. I don't agree with Nazis, but I agree with Nazis' right to say what they want.
I'm Gary. I'm a normal guy. I'm a big fan of a storefront that sells things.
It is weird how much fandom Steam has had, as you are correct, a literal storefront. As a developer, I get why Valve has fans. My God, they make brilliant video games when they choose to make them. But as a storefront, it is weird to see someone wear a Steam shirt. You're like, okay, that's where you buy things?
Macy's.
Okay. This is my Target shirt. This is Sony Santa Monica shirt. They make good video game, but they don't sell video game.
I do go to Sony Santa Monica with a bundle of cash in my hand and I would say, "Oh, I got God of War!"
Joy Division is my favorite game dev.
Of course, none of these games that were pulled from Steam were big blockbusters. Sanderson said his game makes no money, but said it's the principle, which I can understand. But these things have a way of snowballing, and if Steam gets a reputation for turning a blind eye to white supremacy, or I guess more of a reputation, and other hate speech, we could see a further exodus of developers.
It's the first time we've seen Valve challenged on basically anything.
Meanwhile, one of Steam's biggest competitors, Epic Games, joined others in supporting protesters. Epic, which of course operates the Epic Games Store, even postponed Season 3 of Fortnite in the wake of the Black Lives Matter protests.
I mean, as much as we make fun of that game, it is still the most popular thing in the world.
Yeah, literally, the Fortnite event yesterday, tanked Twitch.
12 million in-game.
What?
12 million people in servers watching stuff. That's where they capped it.
God damn.
That they capped it?
That's what they capped for stability, according to the tweet from their account.
Oh my god,
Holy
I can't wait to watch
shit.
Tenet.
Then I think there was another 8 million across. What's that?
Can't wait to watch Tenet.
Oh, me neither. Wait, what does that have to do with
It's
Fortnite?
coming to Fortnite.
What?
Yeah, they're like doing like a kind of screening
Yeah.
thing of Tenet. Can you imagine how mad Christopher Nolan is?
Right.
There's a critic on film Twitter that posted a picture of a small screen on a plane seat of Dunkirk, and he was like, the way it was meant to be seen.
In a blog post they wrote, "We're acutely aware of the pain our friends, families, team members, players, and communities are experiencing. We believe in equality and justice, diversity and inclusion, and that these fundamentals are above politics." So, good on you,
Those are
Epic.
two good sentences. Be interesting to see if anything comes of this and if the pressure that's being put on Valve right now actually ends up having an effect on anything, whether it comes to the revenue split between them and developers in terms of publishing and how explicit you can get or offensive you can get in the kind of content you're allowed to publish on that platform. I guess we'll see.
Now, an executive at Riot Games is in some hot water, to say the least, after they shared a controversial Facebook post that seemed to kind of minimize Floyd's death. It was weird. Motherboard reports that Ron Johnson, global head of consumer products at Riot, shared an image on Facebook that includes an image of Floyd